Okay, welcome to my last match for the season here. So on the board we have Sauna. So the board is automatically interesting because Sauna exists, and these days I'm suffering from a little bit of Sauna blindness, which means when I see Sauna on the board I instinctively open Sauna and Silver. I mean, it's not bad. Most of the time it's not bad, but it's good to consider other things. So I tried, really tried, and I came up with Moneylender and Silver. Or you could come up with like two fours as well, right? Sauna and Salvager, for example. So Sauna and Moneylender. That seems fine. The 5 and the 3 seems a lot weaker than the 4 and the 4 here. There's no, yeah, 5 that does a whole lot. Baker is probably the best in the opening anyway. So I'm not going to go for any 4-4 or 5-3. I'm just going to, be plain, be vanilla. Sauna Silver against my opponents. Ratcatcher and Salvager. So we have a very different opening here, and we'll see how things play out. So the Salvager is actually pretty key on this board, given that it is, well, the Sorcerer plus by that you want. The Herbalist is fine, but the Salvager is better, I think, because it is more flexible and it has a lot of use in the end game. Salvage province by province, for example. And you could also salvage all kinds of things. Salvage saunas and Avantos and whatever. The point is, it's a lot more flexible than the Herbalist, but you already know that, so I don't know why I'm saying it. Okay. So, the issue for me is when to put in that Salvager into my deck. Because I think when you're playing with Sauna and Avanto, you want to hit the Sauna pile as often as you could. And it leaves very little room, I think, in my mind, currently, to depart for anything else. And the reason for that is, well, the extra saunas help you trash more quickly. That is the reason why. Of course, the Salvager does too, but the sauna is a lot better at trashing. Because it's a cantrip, is just that much better at finding the silver to trash. So I've had good draws with the Sauna up to this point, right? They've shown up with my single silver twice now. Extremely happy about that. My opponent is also enjoying some good draws. His Ratcatcher and Salvager both got used before he shuffled again. So again here, this is why I'm pausing every time I have like at least $4. Do I want to put the Salvager in now? Or do I wait and pick up an Avanto instead? So I think here I am going to pick up the Avanto still, just to try to stabilize the draw. And then I checked on that too, and I knew the last few cards weren't that great, so I would have either 4 or 5, and if I had 4 I would pick up the Salvager. So here's my opportunity to go for the Salvager, and it is what I do here. So now I have one extra buy in my deck. I was able to find the time to do so. I mean, the extra buy early doesn't do much, right? The Salvager trashing is what you value it for more, unless there's really cheap things. And I guess there's Ratcatchers, which isn't bad. So I don't think it was that big of a deal to skip out on opening with the Salvager. But my opponent is actually like very, very thin here, and he picks up a gold. So he has less Saunas than me, and he will end up with less Avantos than me. But he has that economic advantage there. So here I am able to chain a little bit and get some value out of the Salvager. Now I have to decide how many cards I want to trash, right? What it is I want to buy on my turn here. And I think this is where I pick up a gold. Following my opponent, of course. So another thing I saw with Sauna and Avanto so far is that you get to a point where you can easily overdraw your deck, and it all happens very suddenly. In one turn, all your Saunas and Avantos just connect, and you find your silver, you trash a bunch of things, and you're suddenly very thin and suddenly able to draw a whole lot more cards. So I wanted to put some payload into my deck, anticipating that I would reach that state at some point, rather than wait until I reach there and realize, oh, I can overdraw by 6 cards and then there's no payload in my deck. So that's what I'm trying to balance here. The um the draw from the Sauna Avanto chain versus some payload. So 5 for my opponent here is going to be another Avanto. So he just has 2 Saunas, and I think this is going to be his second Avanto. Oh yeah, 6 actually. He's been hiding money from me. What are you doing, man? No. So he picks up another gold here, right? So he's going for more money, which is fine, right? Is perfectly fine. And well, especially so on this board, right? Like there's no extra source of VP except for your groundskeepers, right? So if you get thin enough and you have your salvager around, you could potentially put a little pressure on the province pile and see from there. Of course, the groundskeepers are gonna get in your way, right? You need to pick up groundskeepers before you go for that, but what I'm saying is that the gold is pretty good here. It's pretty good here. Because really all you want to do is hammer provinces. And if you could hammer provinces while you have your groundskeeper in play, all the better for you. So here, I'm gonna cut a silver down just to get to 10, and I go for I believe an Avanto. I thought about a second Avanto here, and an Explorer, because my plan is, okay, I'll get a province, I could Explorer, gain gold, trash gold with Salvager, and get a lot of money with that. That's really like the only thing there is to do on the board. There's nothing else to do aside from play groundskeepers. That's not exciting. You know, you buy groundskeeper, you play groundskeeper, you buy victory cards. That's it really. So my opponent is reaching to the point where he can draw his deck, right? So he actually got thin a little bit faster than me here. Um, the Ratcatcher and the Salvager obviously had something to do with that, and he goes for another Avanto and an Explorer himself here. So he has the ability to do the same things I can do right now. So this is a kind of a, you know, not a good turn. My deck is more than capable of drawing itself, but it opted not to do so here. So I am just going to hold up here. If I was able to draw through everything, I probably, yeah, I would have had another turn with 10 and 2 buys, right? So I could have gone for something like Avanto Groundskeeper. That actually seems like seems like something that I would exactly do. As is, I only have enough here to pick up another, just the one Avanto. So the point I was making earlier about, you know, being thin enough and having money shows up here. So my opponent doesn't have as many Saunas or Avantos as me, but it doesn't matter because he could get his business done with the resources that he has. So maybe pressuring the Sauna Avanto pile isn't so crucial on this board. And now, okay, this is the second part, right? We've trashed down, built up something that could draw a little bit, an engine of sorts. Now we're going to put the groundskeepers in, because if you don't, you get murked by groundskeepers. So you have to take lots of them. So right, so this is, look how he, look at that. It just didn't want to do it last time for reasons best known to itself. So I'm a little bit behind on the trash in here. 4 coppers versus my opponent's 1 or 2, 0, I don't know. And I am going to convert here for 10. I mean convert a trash or silver and keep enough coppers around to make sure I get up to 10 coins. And I'm gonna buy a pair of groundskeepers. So we both started differently, very differently. Sauna Silver versus Ratcatcher Salvager, but we are in actually the same place at this point. The only thing separating us at this point in the game is the first player advantage. So because of that, my opponent is going to be able to get 6 of the groundskeepers, and I'm only going to be able to get 4 of the groundskeepers. And that is basically game over, I think. Because he could just outscore me. The only consolation I have is that my deck has more Saunas than Avantos. It should be able to draw more. I do have the extra action because I have the extra Sauna. Right? Of course, right now I'm not making use of either of those advantages. and my opponent, knowing that he has the weaker deck, will make the play of putting pressure on the province pile, ending the game as soon as possible, right? So I have to try to make use of my advantage. Look at this massive, massive overdraw. That is ridiculous. So I have 3 actions to do things with. But I'm just going to do the same thing as my opponent, right? Just pick up groundskeepers. I can't fall behind on that any more than I'm already going to fall behind on it. And there's nothing else on the board that would help me do things. Maybe another salvager. Maybe. Baker, I can't build up enough coin tokens to pose anything remotely threatening. And with only 2 buys, there's only so much you could do. So here, just making sure I have enough money to pick up a pair of groundskeepers. And I am going to do so. So, one other difference between the decks is that I have these coppers, right? So I'm a little bit less trashed, less thin than my opponent, but I also have the extra draw to compensate, so we should be okay in that regard. So another pair of groundskeepers for me here, but that'll be the last pair of groundskeepers I pick up. So you see all my opponent's groundskeepers and his, Sauna Avanto. He himself is overdrawing with just 2 Saunas, 2 Avantos. And is going to pick up the last 2 groundskeepers. So there you go, right? Pretty even position for both of us. And luckily I'm able to draw through here. And now I have a choice of what to do. So I'm going to obviously play my Explorer guy. And I have to trash something, right? So what is my play here? What do I do? I could go for province. Then I don't have to use the salvager, and I would have gold available to me next turn. That is certainly something I could do. In fact, I could probably also trash our copper here, just with the Sauna Avanto business. Instead, I'm gonna go for something different. Because if I just go for province, then my opponent will do the same thing and I'll lose, right? Because he's getting 2 extra victory points per turn. So I have to try to make up that extra victory points somewhere, somehow. So what I'm gonna do is pick up a duchy and another explorer. So my idea with the explorer was to get more money in my deck so I could threaten to buy 2 provinces. That was the idea, right? However, I think the salvager is a better buy in this position. In retrospect, of course, not in the game. Otherwise, I would have bought the salvager, of course, right? So I think the salvager is better because you could buy estates, for example, and get 4 points off your groundskeepers with buying an estate. That's nice, right? It's not 6 like my opponent is having, but it's still something. So he actually has enough here for province and duchy, which is tremendous, right? The extra gold is showing its weight there. And yeah, I actually stole again here, which is awful. That is so bad. So bad. And I have to be content with a duchy here. So, right, like I said, the explorer was there to give me more money, hopefully. So I could double province and maybe do something with that. But instead, I think the second salvager is just better because I could make more use of my groundskeepers with the second salvager. So here my opponent is going to start trashing province for province and, just make back the points from his groundskeeper and eventually pile out the provinces that way. So I am in quite the fix here, quite a tough spot. I'm not really sure I could get out of it at this point, honestly. I had a couple stall turns in this game that obviously didn't help, but I also didn't help myself with that Explorer buy instead of the Salvager. So gaining a couple of silvers here. I do want a province at some point. I would like to be salvaging gold as I do here, and this is where I decide to go for the province. I need at least 1, and I can finally get rid of these coppers. that have been causing the inconsistencies so far. And I'm gonna pick up province and a duchy here. So now I have the province, I can start salvaging gold, but again, like I said, I'm locked on buys to the same number as my opponent, right? We both have 2 buys. And if he kicks off again, which he does, I'm hoping he stalls because he doesn't have as many Saunas and Avantos, then I might have a chance, maybe. And, well, stall for him actually involves buying a province and a duchy, which is real good for him here. So, this time I'm not going to stall, I'm actually going to be able to draw all the way through, and what turns up is that I think I could have, with the extra salvager, maybe gone for triple province. Not maybe, I could have gone for triple province, but not sure if I could have won off of it. I would obviously have to salvage 1 province, right? And maybe something else, right? And here, look, even here, I wasn't able to get all 3 actions. I had to use one of my Avantos near the end. So I only have 2 actions, but that could have been 2 salvages. So I could have maybe salvaged a province, of course, and salvaged Explorer. No, that's still not enough. So yeah, I'm not really sure what I could have done differently here. I do agree with second salvager over second explorer, but I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough. It is tough. So that is game 1 for you here. I track my opponent's deck, and he's not going to stall this turn. He has all his groundskeepers now, plus another pair of Sauna and Avanto, so it's just a formality to get the 2 provinces for him. So let me know what you think here, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next game.